All right, let's get into it. Think about this for a second. Right now, inside your walls, there's this silent guardian, constantly on duty, fighting a never-ending battle with the world outside. We're talking, of course, about your HVAC system. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain and really look at the incredible work that machine does just to keep you comfortable. So, what can one single city's climate possibly teach everyone about their own home? Well, it turns out a ton. We're going to put one place under the microscope: Cambridge, Massachusetts. I mean, this is a city that has these brutal sub-zero winters and then flips to these sticky, humid summers, all while being full of old, drafty buildings. By looking at this extreme case, we can actually learn some universal truths about the stress our own systems are under, no matter where we live. Think of Cambridge's fight as a supersized version of the battle happening in your home right now.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll dive into what makes this climate such a gauntlet. Then, we'll see exactly how that pressure causes breakdowns. After that, we've got the $5,000 rule, a game changer for big decisions. We'll decode what a service call should really look like, and we'll wrap up with your very own playbook to stay ahead of the game.
All right, Section 1, a climate's gauntlet. First things first, you gotta understand the enemy. And for an HVAC system in a place like Cambridge, the environment is just relentless. It's throwing everything it has at your equipment, 24/7.
So what's really wild here is the sheer intensity of the swing. I mean, we're not just talking about it being hot or cold. It's this absolutely punishing freeze-thaw cycle. Just picture it. Your furnace is running full blast, non-stop for weeks on end when it's below zero. Then, bam, a few months later, your AC is working overtime, fighting this oppressive, thick humidity. This isn't just normal wear and tear, you know. This is pushing a machine to its absolute breaking point, over and over again, every single year. And believe it or not, the weather's only half the battle. You've got the Charles River Basin just pumping this sticky, suffocating humidity into the air, which is a perfect recipe for mold. Then there's the houses themselves. So many of them are old Victorians or those classic triple-deckers, and let's be honest, they're beautiful, but they are not well insulated. Getting air to flow evenly in those places, it's a total nightmare. The top floor's a sauna, the basement's an icebox. And, as if that's not enough, you've got these really strict state building codes telling you exactly what you can and can't do when it's time for a repair. It's a perfect storm of problems.
Okay, so we've seen the challenges. Now let's talk about the consequences. What happens when you push a system that hard for that long? Well, things break. It's inevitable. So let's take a look at the most common ways these systems finally just give up.
And here's a big one, the frozen AC coil. This is such a classic sign of a system that's just overwhelmed. If you've ever lived anywhere humid, you might know exactly what I'm talking about. Your AC is making noise, it's running, but the air coming out is warm. So you go check the unit, and it's literally covered in a block of ice. And no, that's not just a weird fluke. It's a totally predictable chain reaction.
So, how does that even happen? Well, first, that crazy high humidity means your AC is pulling a ton of water out of the air, right? All that water is supposed to go down a little drain line, but that line can get clogged up with algae, dust, just gunk. And when it clogs, the water has nowhere to go. It just backs up and sits there, right on the super chilled evaporator coil. And what happens next? Boom. The whole thing freezes into a solid block of ice, and your cooling just stops dead. And that frozen coil? That's really just the tip of the iceberg, no pun intended. You also get that classic uneven heating, right? The top floor is an oven, the basement is a freezer. That's super common in these older multi-story homes. Or what about short cycling? That's when your system kicks on and off every couple of minutes instead of running a nice long cycle. It's literally destroying itself from the inside out. And of course, the big one, a failed ignition system in the middle of a freezing winter night. That's a real emergency.
All right, so the inevitable happens. Your system dies. And now you're facing that huge, stressful question. Do I spend money to fix this old thing again, or is it finally time to bite the bullet and replace it? It's a tough call, but there's actually a really simple rule of thumb that can help make it crystal clear.
It's called the $5,000 rule, and the idea is super straightforward. All you do is take the age of your unit in years and multiply it by how much the repair is going to cost. The number you get is your decision factor. Let's put this into practice. So say your unit is 12 years old, and the repair is going to be about $500.
You multiply 12 times 500 and you get 6,000. Since that's over the $5,000 mark, the rule suggests that, hey, it's probably smarter to replace it. You're just throwing good money after bad. But now look at the other scenario. Your unit is only 8 years old and the repair is $400. Well, 8 times 400 is $3,200. That's way under the $5,000 threshold, so in that case, yeah, the repair is probably the way to go.
Okay, so you've made your choice, and now it's time to call in a professional. And let's be real, this can be a pretty nerve-wracking moment. But if you know what to look for in a good service call, it gives you the power. It helps you make sure you're actually getting your money's worth. I love this quote because it just nails it. A good technician doesn't just show up and start swapping out parts hoping something works. They're like a detective. They're there to find the root cause. They want to know why that part failed. And that, right there, is the difference between a quick temporary patch and a real long-term fix.
So, what should you expect? A really professional service call has 3 clear steps. Step 1. You should be able to get in touch easily and know when they're coming. Step 2. They do a proper diagnosis to find the exact problem, and, this is key, they give you a price before they start any work. No surprises. And step 3, after the fix, they don't just pack up and leave. They run the system, they test it, they make absolutely sure the problem is actually solved for good. And that brings us to our final section. We've seen the battle, we've dissected the breakdowns, now for the good stuff. Let's talk about how you can get out in front of all this. This is all about switching from that panicked, oh no, it broke mindset to one of proactive, preventive power. So why does being proactive matter so much? Well, look at this. A typical HVAC system, if you take care of it, should last you 15 to 20 years. But climates like New England's can definitely shorten that. So think about it like this. Regular maintenance isn't just about saving a couple $100 on a repair. It's about getting 5, maybe even 10 more years of life out of a machine that costs thousands of dollars to replace. That's a huge return on investment. So here it is. This is your playbook. It's pretty simple stuff, really. Get your furnace inspected before winter hits. Get your AC tuned up before summer starts. Remember those clogged drain lines? Clean them out. A bottle of cleaner costs next to nothing and can save you from a $1,000 headache. Swap out your filters quarterly. It's easy. And this is a big one. Pay attention to the little things. If you hear a weird noise or the airflow seems weak, that's your system trying to tell you something is wrong before it turns into a catastrophe.
So, to wrap things up, let's go back to that idea of the silent guardian in your walls. It is fighting for you every single day against heat, cold, humidity, all of it, just to keep you and your family comfortable. So the real question you have to ask yourself is, are you giving it a fighting chance?